Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we will discuss failure to pay estimated taxes specifically for individual. Now, as individual, we don't mostly have to worry about paying estimated taxes. And the reason why? The reason is simple. Because if we are an employee, we receive wages. And when we receive those wages, the taxes are withheld immediately. So our employer takes the taxes right from our paycheck, and this is how we pay our taxes. Now, how about if we have other sources of income like interest, dividend, royalty, maybe a side business, a Schedule C? Well, under those circumstances, once you have a side business, you might be considered self-employed, and as a result, what you have to do is you have to pay estimated taxes. Otherwise, a penalty is imposed for failure to pay your estimated income taxes. Because when you work for yourself, you have income. Well, guess what? You're the employee and you're the employer. And you have to basically take money from yourself and pay it to the government, just like your company takes money from your paycheck and pay it directly to the government. So the penalty applies to individuals. And in this session, we'll work on individuals. If you're a trust, you have to make estimated payment. If you're an estate, as well as corporation. We will discuss trust and estate in another session, but basically trust and estate follows mostly individual. Then we would look at corporations later on in a separate recording. And it's based on the rate of interest in effect for the deficiency assessment, whatever that deficiency assessment happened to be. Now here's what happened. There's basically a safe harbor rule, no penalty if the tax due is less than 500 for corporations and 1,000 for others, which is including individuals, because in this session we will work on individuals. So simply put, if you underpaid your taxes by $1,000, that's fine, there's no penalty. Now, corporations must make the last quarterly payment by the 12th month of the same year. Again, don't worry about corporation. We'll look at that later. Generally, the payments for corporation is 1/4 of the tax expected to be due. So just for now, forget about the corporation. The reason I'm mentioning them, because I want you to be aware that individual are different than how corporation act. So you need to know the estimated taxes for individual, which we will discuss in this session. And in another session, we would work on corporation. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com. You are here because you are serious about mastering taxation. Whether you are taking a tax course, studying for the CPA exam, or enrolled agent, tax feels overwhelming, not because it's impossible, but because it's dense, detailed, and often taught at a pace that doesn't match the way you learn. The rules can feel disconnected, and the logic isn't always explained clearly. At Farhat Lectures, we slow it down. We explain the why behind the rules, break concept into simple steps, and rebuild your understanding from the ground up without assuming any prior knowledge. When explanation matches your learning, everything changes. The confusion fades, the rules start to connect, and tax becomes manageable. If you are ready to understand tax with clarity and confidence, start your free trial at farhatlectures.com and let's build your tax foundation together. The first thing I want to show you is the estimated payment due date. So what you have to do is this. If you have to make estimated payment, why? If you're self-employed, if you have other income, if you have royalty income, if you have interest income, dividend income, and you need to pay your taxes to satisfy your tax obligation, you have to submit a form called 1040 ES. ES stands for estimate. And this payment is due 4 times a year. And for example, for the first quarter, it's due April 15th, unless it's a Saturday or a holiday. For payment 2, it's due June 15th. For this year, it's on June 16th. There's a holiday. Payment 3, notice it's September 15th. September 15th. And payment 4 is due January 15th. This is January 15th. Now, the reason I did not put the year, because if I showed you the year, you might think that it changes every year. Not really. You just have to put the amount, I have to pay $5,000. You fill out your information, your address, your social security, state, zip code if you're a foreigner, if you live in a foreign country, if your address in a foreign country, the foreign country name, foreign address, and the postal code, and you submit it to the government depending on how much you owe. Now, how do you know how much you submit? Well, you should know based on your income, based on your business, based on that revenue that's being generated outside your wages. You will estimate based on that. If you don't know, ask your accountant, your CPA, your enrolled agent, and they will help you. For example, every year, at the end of the year, my accountant, who happened to be a student of mine, my CPA, will give me 4 of those paper, and they will say, just remember, and he would text me like a few days before the due date, say, just make sure you submit your payment. You will go to a system called EFTPS. It's a government website, and you can submit your payment electronically, or you can mail this with a check. I obviously make online payment. It's much easier, much cleaner. So again, let's talk about individual. If an individual underpaid their taxes, they are subject to a penalty. An individual underpayment of estimated taxes is the difference between the estimates, how much they should pay, and withholding that were paid, and the lower of 90% of the current year tax or 100% of the prior year tax. Now, if you are a prior year adjusted gross income more than 150,000, it means you have a high income, you're considered a high income, then this 100% becomes 110%. So the first thing, we will work a few examples dealing with your less than 150,000. Then I will show you what happened if you are above 150,000. So you have to make this determination. You have to make this determination. The best way to illustrate this is to look at an example. Actually, a few examples. First, we're going to look at a person with a prior year AGI of 75,000. Tax withholding and estimated payment for this year is 800. Current tax liability 1,200. Prior tax liability is 1,000. What do we have to do here? Do we have to do anything? Well, let's see. So we made estimated payment and withholding. Withholding means if you have a job at a company, they withhold money from your paycheck. So between the withholding and the estimated payment that this individual made, they sent to the government 800. Their obligation is 1,200. Let's take a look at what we have here. We owe $400. What does that mean? Well, this is the safe harbor rule. The balance is less than $1,000. No underpayment applies. The 1,000 safe harbor rule. Eliminate the penalty regardless of the safe harbor comparison. So we're good. It's less than 1,000. Let's look at scenario 2. We have a prior AGI of 135. Tax withholding and estimated payment 1,750. The liability is 3,000. The prior year tax liability was 2,000. So step 1. Are we more than $1,000? Well, if we take 3,000, our current liability, minus what we paid and what we withhold, we still owe 1,250. Therefore, we exceed the $1,000. Therefore, we have to do more work. Step 2, we have to look at our required annual payment. We have to look at 90% of the current year. The current year is 3,000 times 90%. So 3,000 times 90%. So 2,700, or 100% of the prior year. 2,000 times 100% is 2,000. Well, guess what? We're going to have to look at the lower payment, 2,000, and we have an underpayment of how much? 2,000 required. We paid 1,750. We have an underpayment of 250. Therefore, the penalty applies to the 250. So an underpayment applies to the amount of 250 because we should have submitted in total 2,000, but we only submitted 1,750. We're short 250. Let's take a look at this example. Prior year AGI 70,000. Estimated payments and withholding 1,800. Our current tax liability is 3,000, and you notice the difference is 1,200. It's more than 1,000. Prior tax liability happens to be 0. We have to stop. There's a rule we need to know here. If the prior tax liability is 0, the taxpayer automatically satisfy the safe harbor. That's it. And I had this explanation in the example because it's easier to explain in an example. So if your prior tax liability is 0, that's it. You satisfy the safe harbor rule. So no underpayment applies even though the balance is more than $1,000. Although when I started, I said 1,200, preparing you to think we have to do further analysis. Then once the prior balance is 0, that's it. That's a new rule you need to be aware of. Scenario 4. Prior AGI is in $90,000. Total withholding an estimated payment of $3,000. Current year liability $4,500. Well, there's a difference of $1,500. Forget about the $1,000 unless the prior year is 0. The prior year is $5,000. We have to do more work. So step 1, we can ignore the safe harbor rule because it's more than $1,000. Required annual payment is 90% of the current year. So 4,500 times 90%, which is 4,050, or 5,000 times 100% is 5,000. The lower is 4,050, and how much did we submit? 3,000. Well, our underpayment is $1,050. We have an underpayment penalty that the underpayment penalty applies to the $1,050. Let's take a look at the 5th scenario. Adjusted gross income of $160. What's special about this amount? It's greater than $150. Now this number could change in the future. Just if it changes, that's fine. But for years, it has been $150. Tax withholding an estimated payment of $6,000. Current tax liability $8,500. It's more than $1,000. We're short $2,500. Prior tax liability was $1,000. Now, because the prior year AGI exceeds the high income threshold, now we have to use the 110% of the prior year rather than the 100%. So step 2, required annual payment, 90% of the current year, 90% of 8,500 is 7,650. Now we have to take 110% of the prior year. The prior year is 6,000, 110%, 6,600. Well, it means we should have paid 6,600. We only paid 6,000, and we sent estimated payment and withholding. We are short how much? You guessed it, $600. So an underpayment penalties applies to the $600. Simply, here's what you have to do. Always test for the $1,000 rule. If the liability is less than 1,000, it's done. Or you would look at the prior year tax liability. If it's 0, it's done. Then you would use the lower of the safe harbor calculation, which we saw earlier. Apply 110% only when the prior year AGI threshold is exceeded, which happens to be 150. That's could change, and the penalty applies to the shortfall, not to the total tax due. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. Taxpayer provide the following data. The prior year AGI 120, prior year tax liability 2,400, current year tax liability 3,200, withholding and estimated payments of 2,000. What is the amount subject to underpayment penalty? Now what you can do is you can ask AI to explain the underpayment penalty if you would like to before you answer that question using farhat.ai. So first, let's see. Is the balance more or less than 1,000? We submitted payment and withholding of 2,000 and the liability is 3,200. We're short 1,200. Therefore, we don't meet the safe harbor $1,000 rule. Therefore, A is out. And we have a prior year tax liability. It means 0 is out. We eliminated one of the answers. What do we have to do? Well, we determine the required annual payment. It's going to be the lower of 90% of the current tax year. The current tax year is 3,200 times 90%, or 100% of the prior year. 100% of the prior year, 2,400 is 2,400. The lower of these two is 2,400. And how much did we submit it to the government in total? 2,000. So we are short 400, and that shortage will be subject to a penalty. Now, if you would like to, you could ask AI to explain the answer in a different format if you would like to, but I think this is a good way. It's not going to get any more detailed than this, or you can ask AI to create a similar MCQ if you're using farhatlectures.ai. It will help you practice this concept. What should you do now? Whether you are a CPA exam candidate, enrolled agent, accounting student, Farhat Lectures is where you need to be. Invest in yourself, invest in your education. That's the best investment you can make. Good luck, study hard, and of course, stay safe.